I'm not what you would call a ball basher. I mean, to be honest, I actually quite like the guy. I mean, he has been able to produce hundreds and hundreds of pieces of shit and then still keeps getting to make them. And quite frankly, I've got to admire anyone that can exploit a tax loophole to keep making shitty films. But yes, if I'm quite honest, he is terrible. He is probably one of the worst filmmakers in his generation and also working in the industry today. But I quite like the guy, to be honest. Again, he is completely honest about his work. He's honest about the film industry now. He despises Michael Bay. And, well, some of his films have a twinkle of guilty pleasure in them. I think my favourite film that Uwe Boll's ever made is probably In the Name of the King, A Dungeon Siege Tale. And the only reason for this is I actually enjoyed the camera work and the action set pieces as well as the costumes and the music. And for a film that had a micro budget, to get actors like Burt Reynolds in it and Ray Liotta is quite impressive. And Uwe Boll seems to be like a fun enough guy. Yeah, sure, I wouldn't want to be in the boxing match when he beat up those 10 critics, but at the same time, how many filmmakers do you know that would go to those lengths to teach critics a lesson? I think it's pretty cool of the guy, if I'm honest. However, there is one film he has made which will live in infamy. A film which many burn as soon as new copies are made on DVD. A film that Sega pretends they did not fund and hope that it will never be known in the existence of films ever, but it is known. It is known by many. It is hated by many, and I am now one of them. House of the Dead is one of the worst films ever made. You may think Freddy's Dead was shit. You may think Transformers 2 was shit. But House of the Dead is the mutated fuck baby of Freddy's Dead, Transformers 2, and The Room, mixed in with Tommy Wiseau's sperm into a horrible cauldron of evil stirred by Satan himself. House of the Dead is dreadful. It is perhaps the worst adaptation of a film to video game I have ever seen. It is perhaps the worst script I've ever seen in a film. It is perhaps the worst casting I've ever seen in a film. It is certainly the worst zombie film I have ever seen, as not only do the zombies look like, I don't know, vomit on a stick, they also are terribly performed. I think Uwe must have been taking a vacation during the production of this film, because it is truly, truly awful. There is only one decent actor in this movie, Jürgen Prochnow, who, again, is miscast and completely wasted. I didn't recognise a single one of the other actors in this movie, probably because they were so ashamed of this film they committed mass suicide immediately after the premiere. The special effects suck. The editing is mixed in with transitions of video game footage. You know how in a film you might get a cut to black or a fade or a wipe on the screen or something like that? You don't get that here. You get a 1 second shot of video gameplay footage before the next scene rolls on, which is A, pointless, B, looks stupid, and C, is completely irrelevant to the narrative of the film. Not that the film has a narrative. Horny teenagers want to go to a party on an island, the island's infested with zombies, they try and fight them off. That's it. We don't get an explanation of where the zombies come from. We don't even see a house of the dead on the island. We see a shack in the middle of a wooded area. We don't see a house, a haunted mansion, anything. It's a shack. I think the shack in Evil Dead was about 10 times bigger than this one. The plot, well, there isn't a plot. How could you make a plot based on a rail shoot-'em-up game? And don't get me wrong, I adore the House of the Dead games. If you've ever stepped into an arcade, you have been bound to play one. I mean, my favourite one's 2, but 3 was very, very good as well. It was fun, it was fast-paced, addictive, and very, very tough at times, as well as being incredibly expensive. But the problem with the House of the Dead gaming franchise is that it doesn't have a story. Oh, sure, zombie apocalypse, evil bad guy in a big building, you have gun, go kill. But you can't make a film really on that. I'd love to see a film like that, but Uwe Boll has completely ignored the story. like he's done with Alone in the Dark, In the Name of the King, Blood Rain, and any other movies he's based on video games, quite frankly. I'd usually be a lot more angry when it comes to Uwe Boll, but this film really drained a lot of energy out of me. I really hated it. It's only 90 minutes long, but it will feel like 90 million, trust me. But you have to see this film. You have to see the terrible CGI bullets. If Wanted pissed you off with the physics and bullets being curved, then you gotta watch this. If you were pissed off with bad zombies design in Resident Evil, you have to see this film. This movie, I don't know why they made it. I can't believe Sega even funded half of it. And Sega is also, their logo is shoddily displayed in a terrible party scene. But, my god, it's awful. I think everyone involved knew it was awful. I think Uwe Boll has admitted in interviews that it's awful. And if Uwe Boll thinks his own film is awful, then you know it's going to be bad.